Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Hope is redeemed by Liam's death. On Bold and the Beautiful, Steffi Forrester just broke the terrible news that Liam Spencer is dying to Hope Logan. And soon, Steffi will tell Hope all the depressing facts about his brain tumor. Furthermore, this plot might soon change and become more than just Liam's life or death situation. Hope may experience a crisis of conscience, which she has, quite frankly, needed for a long time. Let's discuss how Hope might become a decent girl again and how Liam's death sentence might pave the way for her to be saved. However, I do enjoy Bad Hope. The startling metamorphosis of Hope Logan from good girl to bad girl. Okay, so ever since Hope kissed Thomas Forrester in June 2023, we have been seeing her gradually go from a morally upright girl into a terrible girl who is finding her footing and entering a villainous phase. Even as she was having sex with Liam, she began to fantasize about Thomas. It didn't happen all at once, though. It was really shady. From being secretly attracted to Thomas, Hope went on to kiss him. Naturally, that led to the breakdown of Hope and Liam's marriage. Hope then began having affairs with Thomas, and the two eventually became a relationship. Bold and the Beautiful, Hope is redeemed by Liam's death. #Brave and Beautiful. The power grab at Forrester Creations and Hope's contentious relationships. However, if you give it some thought, it appears like Hope was ultimately trying to manipulate Thomas. According to whom you ask. Thomas truly intended to marry Hope, but she claimed she wasn't prepared for that step. The Forresters undoubtedly saw Hope as a villain who had deceived him. However, if you ask Ridge Forrester or Steffi, they would tell you that Hope was taking advantage of Thomas and pushing him. Steffi was so certain of her belief that she persuaded Thomas to simply leave her, Los Angeles, and America. Hope ultimately lost Thomas. After that, she developed a very shady crush on Finn, with whom she made advances and fantasized about Steffi's spouse. Hope's devious attempt to snatch Steffi's man contributed to the subsequent love catastrophe they anticipated for Hope. Hope targets Finn in Bold and the Beautiful. In the eyes of Steffi and Ridge, Hope switched from using Thomas to target Finn to using Carter Walton because her brief romance with Carter coincided with his attempt to preserve her failed line Hope for the future. Furthermore, the optics are poor even if Hope wasn't intentionally acting with hidden agendas. The problem is that Hope may have taken advantage of Carter without even realizing it. Because when Hope urged Carter to steal FC, she was unquestionably acting villainously. Hope then pretended to be the new queen of the firm that Ridge and Steffi had stolen, sticking it in their faces. That's when Hope really seemed to go south, especially after Carter began to feel horrible and wanted to return the firm. Liam Spencer and Steffi Forrester in Bold and the Beautiful. Hope wants it all. Bold and Beautiful. Thus Hope become quite power-hungry. Carter did so despite being essentially told, "No, you're not giving the company back." Hope then broke up with him once more. Very poor visuals. Makes her appear evil. Additionally, it somewhat supported the claims made by Ridge, Steffi, and Eric Forrester that she was taking advantage of Carter. Finally, though, we start to notice some cracks as Hope says she is beginning to realize that she and Hope may have done something incorrectly. Hope is undoubtedly moving in the right path, even though she isn't fully acknowledging it. Because Hope refused to accept responsibility for her actions and, was pressuring Carter to steal Forrester Creations, even her own mother, Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, lost it during the Carter-Forrester Creations coup. Many individuals on that soap opera currently view Hope as the antagonist. Liam Spencer's health issue, could it be Hope Logan's turning point? However, due to Liam's medical crisis, things are changing. For a brief moment, it appeared as though Hope had given in to her inner evil girl and was only seeking retribution. It may have been a really soap opera-like way to depart. However, she is terrified of Liam's brain tumor. Therefore, this can be the perfect reminder for Hope to make significant life adjustments. Steffi essentially couldn't bring himself to tell Hope that Liam was dying, so he just told her. Hope is beginning to come to terms with this terrible news about Liam, which could completely alter the course of her life. Deacon presses Hope, brave and beautiful. You know, Hope recently told Deacon Sharp that once she and Liam split up, everything in her life began to fall apart. Naturally, Deacon is now pressuring Hope to get back together with Liam. He is also attempting to persuade Brooke that Liam is the one meant for Hope and that Carter is not suitable for her. We did witness Deacon persuading Hope to listen, but Liam then began to put pressure on her to get back together with Carter. Naturally, though, we are aware that Liam is only acting in that way because he is dying. Hope will have to confront the terrible fact that Liam is dying and that she and Beth Spencer will lose him forever as of today. And for Hope, all of that puts things into perspective. For Steffi, it has already done the same. Reconciliation and redemption? How Hope's future could be reshaped by Liam's experience. And putting an end to their conflict once and for all would be a first step toward Hope being the kind person she once was. Steffi and Hope need to concur on it. Now, none of that triviality matters. Naturally, if Hope and Steffi are not at each other's throats, they will be happier. Finn and Liam have moved past their problems. According to previews for Bold and the Beautiful, Liam and Finn become great friends during this tragedy. Everything is positive. And this may serve as a harsh reminder to Hope that life is brief and that the people in your life and how you treat them are what really count. She might swallow her pride and apologize to Ridge and Eric, John McCook, as she ought to. After that, Ridge ought to express regret for his remarks on Hope. That was also not cool. However, in all honesty, Hope ought to begin her apology tour with Steffi for her recent infatuation with Finn. She urged Carter to steal Steffi's family business after attempting to steal Steffi's husband, you know. The brave and the lovely, is Hope saved? Hope's attention should therefore shift to Liam's assistance in caring for him, preparing their daughter Beth for this awful loss. More of the Hope we've known for years, the one with values and standards. The one who does the right thing even when it's difficult, may soon emerge. This plotline has the potential to kill the vicious, power-hungry Hope that she was tiptoeing towards since Liam is dying. I'll say it again, unless Scott Clifton requested to go and wanted to pursue another endeavor, and they choose to go there, I don't believe Bold will truly kill Liam. However, Liam is likely to receive a miracle in the end. Hope and Liam might get back together and rebuild their family if it does happen and she returns to her former self. Everything is fine. This tumor plotline might therefore be a game-changer, transforming Liam from a waffler into a devoted one-woman guy and ending Hope's period as a villain and transforming her from evil to good. We shall see. As Steffi Forrester slowly finished delivering the news that would shatter Hope Logan's presumptions about her life, her love, and her tenuous truce with the woman in front of her, Hope Logan stood motionless, her fingers still curled around the edge of the conference table at Forrester Creations. Time was stretched like elastic as the words reverberated and were distorted. Hope, you had to know. I believed you were entitled to hear it from me, but what exactly did Steffi mean by that? They weren't actually buddies. They were survivors of a protracted conflict that had been waged for more than 10 years. Filled with wistful looks, incomplete confessions, and Liam Spencer caught in the crossfire. The significance of Steffi's disclosure immediately overshadowed the recent months of tense alliance, co-parenting, professional cooperation, a few tears shed. It didn't matter if it was the news that Liam's terminal illness was getting worse, a last-ditch treatment option that was kept a secret, or maybe the heartbreaking fact that Steffi had understood Liam's deepest, dying wishes before Hope ever knew. Who told her was important. The fact that it wasn't Liam was important. Her mother wasn't the one. Steffi was the one. Hope's breath became like glass in her throat. You knew, and you kept it from me? At the final syllable, her voice broke, half incredulous, partly whispering. Desperate for an answer that would ease the pain of this moment, her blue eyes scanned Steffi's face, but none was found. Hope was even more infuriated by Steffi's gentle, almost mother, sad gaze. Hope retorted, taking a step back, "Don't look at me like that. As if I were a fragile object that you needed to keep safe. You believe this was a form of defense." The air in the room now felt oppressive, heavy with treachery and a hurt Hope hadn't anticipated from someone she was starting to trust. "Steffi, you ought to have informed me as soon as you found out." Not after deciding how to spin it, sitting on it, and processing it. Not in this manner. Steffi took a deep breath and remained firm despite Hope's emotional outburst. I wanted to let you know. Yes, I did. However, Liam made me swear that I wouldn't speak until he was ready. He was attempting to keep you safe. And whether you believe me or not, I was attempting to honor that. However, Hope was not yet able to hear reason. The voice in her head telling her that Steffi had once again put herself in Liam's way was all she could hear. Not in a seductive way. Not by coercion. But with knowledge. Under control. She had chosen the ideal time to reveal the truth, holding it like a sword. Hope's voice now trembled in a low, perilous tone. He trusted you instead of me, then. You are stating that to me. Steffi's face briefly lit up with remorse, demonstrating that even she was aware of how awful it sounded. Trust wasn't the issue. The time had come. He desired to hold off until after. What comes next? Hope interrupted. After he passed out before Beth? Considering that the tumor prevented him from even speaking to me? After all, you might be the one to intervene like a heroine and strike the decisive blow? Hope's voice broke once more, but this time it was due to sadness. Now the tears threatened to fall down her cheeks, hot and unwanted. Don't you always get to be the one with strength? The one who is aware. The person who rescues him. Steffi took a step forward for the first time, her voice growing angry. Avoid doing that. Keep this from becoming a twisted rivalry. It's not about you and me. This has to do with Liam. And, Hope, he's dying. The phrase lingered in the air like a bell signaling the end of something holy, he's dying. Both of them were momentarily silenced. In an attempt to calm the storm inside of her, Hope turned away and put her arms about herself. She had envisioned several possibilities, including ones in which Liam recovered, in which they co-parented amicably, or even in which she moved on entirely, but never this one. I would never lose him, particularly not in this manner. Her voice was hollow when she finally spoke. I was able to assist him. I would have backed him. I was worthy of that opportunity. I understand, Steffi muttered. I'm here now for that reason. However, it's too late, Hope said. You don't notice that? It's too late already. And that was the reality, the wound was open and would not heal properly. Because the damage had already been done, regardless of how admirable Steffi's intentions had been or how hard Liam had pleaded with her to wait. Hope and Steffi, two women who are inextricably linked by love, sorrow, and the same guy, had their brittle tie shattered once more, possibly irreparably. Together, they had previously shed tears. They had brought up their kids together. However, genuine trust was uncommon on this show and, once it was lost, it was rarely restored. Later on in the evening, Hope would sit next to Liam's hospital bed and gaze at the lifeless body of the man she loved, wondering what last words he had given Steffi that he never shared with her. She would question whether Steffi told her now, when it didn't matter, out of loyalty or guilt. Steffi would sit at her own house across town, troubled by Hope's remarks, and question whether doing the right thing at the wrong moment was worse than doing nothing at all. In this tale, neither woman was the bad guy. However, the emotional devastation, the sorrow between them, would persist. Because sometimes the rift isn't caused by the secret itself. Who told it, when, and why they waited so long are the important questions. Will it be too late for Bill to regret hurting Liam? B&B spoilers, when Liam discloses his terminal diagnosis, Bill Spencer is overcome with guilt. Can a father and son get back together before it's too late? A heartbreaking altercation breaks out. Liam discloses the terminal diagnosis as Bill faces devastating guilt. A devastating father-son confrontation that transforms everything occurs on May 9th. There will be one of the most heartbreaking father-son exchanges we've witnessed in years in the upcoming Bold and the Beautiful episode, which airs on May 9th, 2025. Several sources claim that Liam Spencer will eventually tell his father, Bill Spencer, about his heartbreaking medical condition. The emotional consequences will have viewers clutching Kleenex. Liam's astonishing discovery. Following weeks of concealing his illness from the majority of his family, Liam has decided to break the devastating news to his father. He has been diagnosed with an incurable brain tumor. When Bill finds out that his son has a fatal illness, can you imagine his reaction? Don Diamont and Scott Clifton are going to give some of their most impactful performances in their whole tenure on the show, so this isn't just any medical crisis plot. The timing of this confrontation is what makes it even more heartbreaking. According to sources, Bill has been totally unaware of Liam's health issue because he was preoccupied with his contentious choice to free double murderer Luna Nozawa, which led to a great deal of friction between father and son. Talk about regret striking at the most inconvenient time. The crushing guilt of Bill. Bill is about to experience crippling guilt as a result of the revelation. The media tycoon will have to confront the fact that he has been aloof from his son during what may be Liam's last months after being harsh with him and ignoring his worries about Luna in recent months. According to a source close to the production, Bill will realize that all his business dealings and moral compromises mean nothing when confronted with his son's mortality. It's a devastatingly late wake-up call on par with none other. I've heard that while Bill works through his sorrow and guilt, Don Diamont gives a sad performance. Although this is not the first time Dollar Bill has had to deal with the fallout from his deeds, it may be the most significant. Do you recall when his careless actions almost cost him Katie? That drama seems like child's play because of this. Tragic events overshadowed the reconciliation between father and son. The stunning revelation results in a time of true bonding between father and son, despite the initial friction. Indeed, according to sources, Bill may even initially take some defensive digs. Liam's unexpected response is what gives this plot its particular impact. He has found forgiveness and serenity in spite of everything. He just wants to patch up their broken relationship while there is still time, not to punish or hurt his father. According to a source at Soap Central, they embrace it out, but it's one of those lovely, melancholy moments because both men know their time together is now limited. Hope and Steffi installed in the emotional whirlwind. According to spoilers, Hope Logan receives the heartbreaking news about Liam's condition earlier in the week from Steffi Forrester. In an unexpectedly touching moment, the adversaries cry and hug, demonstrating that certain things are stronger than even the most acrimonious rivalries. This is the ideal prelude to Liam's tearful encounter with his father. Since the women in his life are now aware of his illness, Liam can concentrate on the challenging task of telling Bill, the father he has always looked to for acceptance. What will the Spencer men do next? Both characters undergo a sea change in the May 9th episode. Although sources claim Liam tells him that certain things cannot be purchased, not even with Spencer millions, we will probably see a changed Bill who is desperate to make apologies and use his substantial resources to pursue treatment solutions. For Liam, his path focuses on finding calm and savoring the time he has left with his loved ones. Talk about a plot that captures the essence of what makes soap operas so compelling: forgiveness, family, and acknowledging our own death. Is there a twist that nobody sees coming? Additionally, there are rumors that a potentially revolutionary turn is imminent. Is it possible that the medical tests were mixed up? Bill's recent strange behavior, from avoiding Spencer publications to releasing Luna, has led some fans to speculate that he may truly be the one with the brain tumor. However, Liam's diagnosis and the father-son emotional reunion continue to be the main topics of discussion for the time being. In any case, it looks like May 9th will be an episode that fans of Bold and Beautiful cannot afford to miss. Will you be present for this emotional altercation? Liam's terminal illness is revealed to Hope by Steffi, who betrays her promise to him. Few things are more devastating in the world of the Bold and the Beautiful than a broken promise, particularly when it pertains to life, death, and the brittle links of love. Steffi Forrester had always been a strong, resilient, and fiercely loyal woman, but she broke a pledge that would change everything when she had to choose between doing what she felt was right and respecting Liam's wishes. Not only was it a breach of trust when she told Hope Logan that Liam had a terminal disease, but it was also an emotional earthquake that rocked their already complex lives. Liam had sworn Steffi to silence after confiding in her following the devastating prognosis. Fearing that the truth would only hurt Hope and make her stay with him out of sympathy rather than love, he didn't want her to know. He thought that by concealing his illness, he could spare her the pain of seeing him decline. However, Steffi struggled with the weight of Liam's request since she was divided between her moral values and her loyalty to him. She was aware that Hope had a right to know that lies, no matter how well-meaning, should never be the foundation of love. For weeks, the tension had been rising. Although he did a good job of hiding it, Liam's health was deteriorating. He dismissed his weariness and unexpected episodes of lightheadedness as stress or sleep deprivation. However, Steffi could see the truth in the way his hands occasionally shook and the times he would stop speaking in the middle of a sentence, perhaps looking for words that had escaped him. Convincing himself that she would be happy without him, she watched as he emotionally distanced himself from Hope and pushed her toward Thomas. Steffi couldn't bear to watch this noble but misguided act of love take place. One night at the Cliff home was the tipping point. Hope was perplexed by Liam's aloof demeanor after returning from a trip. She went up to Steffi and insisted on knowing why Liam had been acting so oddly and why he appeared intent on pushing her away. With her heart racing, Steffi paused. Despite her vow to Liam to keep quiet, she realized she couldn't continue to lie after seeing Hope's frantic gaze. Steffi's voice was shaking as she said, "I hope there's something you need to know. Liam is ill. Very ill." Suffocating and thick, the words hung in the air. Hope's face turned pale, and she gripped the counter's edge for balance. "What are you saying?" she muttered. With tears in her eyes, Steffi inhaled deeply. "He wanted you to be unaware of it. I vowed not to tell you because of him. However, I can no longer hide this from you. Liam's disease is terminal. The physicians are unsure of his remaining time." Steffi hurried forward to assist Hope as her knees gave way. As Hope struggled to comprehend the news, terminal disease, limited time left, the room whirled. This isn't possible. Was Liam, her child's father and the guy she loved, dying? Had he not informed her? How come he wouldn't tell me? With tears running down her cheeks, Hope choked out. How was he able to hide this from me? With pain and guilt fighting inside her, Steffi took a deep breath. He believed he was keeping you safe. He didn't want you to go through hardships and feel compelled to stick by him out of sympathy. He was willing to let you go if it meant that you would be happy. Hope, however, was not only hurt, she was incensed. "I'm angry with Steffi for maintaining the secret, angry at Liam for excluding her, and angry at the universe for its cruelty." This was different from the years she had been ensnared in the tug-of-war between Steffi and Liam. This was a matter of life and death, not romance or rivalry. Additionally, she had been denied the opportunity to support Liam and treasure their remaining time together. Hope's voice broke as she continued, "I have to see him. Now." Knowing there was no going back, Steffi nodded. Now that the secret was out, there would be disastrous consequences. Steffi had made her decision, but Liam would be furious that she had violated his confidence. Even when the truth was intolerable, she felt that love required honesty. Liam was taken aback when Hope barged into his apartment. He realized what had happened the instant he laid eyes on her tear-streaked face. He fixed his gaze on Steffi, who was standing in the doorway with her own shame clearly visible on her face. Liam stated in a hollow voice, "You told her." Unable to say, Steffi nodded. Hope grabbed Liam's arms and ran to him. "How did you accomplish this?" she sobbed. "How could you have cut me off in this way? Liam, you are loved. I had a right to know." Liam's shoulders slumped as he lost his will to fight. He said, "I didn't want you to hurt. I wanted you to feel free, not confined." "Stuck?" Hope's voice faltered. "Liam, it's not a trap to love you. I have to make that decision every day. And you deprived me of that option." The air in the room was heavy with emotion, regret, grief, and rage. Steffi stood still as she watched the two people she loved the most destroy one another over the secret she had revealed. She had done it even though she knew this would occur. The truth changed their lives in the days that followed. Hope was determined to make the time Liam had left meaningful and would not leave his side. However, the harm was already done. Liam felt deceived by Steffi, And even though he could understand her motivation, their trust was shattered. Steffi, meanwhile, struggled with the ramifications of her choice, questioning whether she had made the correct choice or had simply made everything worse. They were all forced to face difficult realities when Liam's condition was revealed, including those pertaining to love, sacrifice, and the extent people would go to in order to keep those they loved about safe. Although Steffi had betrayed her word, she had given Hope the opportunity to stand up for Liam in a way that would not have been possible if she had stayed in the dark. Ultimately, the question still stood, was the pain of honesty worth it? For Steffi, the answer was definitely yes, even if it meant confronting Liam's rage and losing his trust. Because love was about doing what was right, no matter how difficult it was, and not just about keeping your word. One thing became painfully obvious as Liam, Hope, and Steffi worked through the ensuing emotional storm: certain secrets were too burdensome to bear alone.